I don't know if people know, but if they do, Italy plays at 3 o'clock. The final, and Game 7 will also be on the Sunday at 8 o'clock in Tampa. I'm telling you, if Montreal is gonna burn, it's gonna burn on that day.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Sports Junkies mini series. It
Yeah.
is about the Euros, about the semifinals, and we're talking soccer, all soccer today. It's gonna be a shorter one for you.
Yeah, very sure.
We'll try to keep it short anyway. That's Franco. I'm Joey. Again, we're talking about the Euros semifinals. Those of you who always stick by us, thanks for doing so. If you don't already, subscribe, like it, do all the fun stuff. It's going to be a good episode / mini series, and we'll get you another one later in this week about the finals. So, yeah, what did you think about this last one that just happened?
Yeah,
Italy Denmark. Sorry, England Denmark.
yeah. It was a heartbreaking for Denmark. I felt bad for them. I find they played a very good game, very
Yeah,
solid defensive
yeah.
game. Well, that was literally the only way of them winning was to get a goal and then hopefully defend and then after England got a goal, so they pretty much was playing for penalties. But
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, well, first of all, the free kick was just,
it was
I mean,
retarded.
unbelievable.
Retarded.
It's a great free
Retarded.
kick.
Beautiful.
And they kind of they sat back, but they also had possession a little bit. Denmark.
Yeah,
It's not like it did not feel like the Italy game. The Italy game really
yeah,
felt like they struggled to keep possession of the ball. Denmark had a couple opportunities where they kept the ball for 5 minutes, 6 minutes at a time, just to keep that clock winding down. Because at the end of the day, time is your enemy when you're down by one, right? But then they even it up. Own goal. Could the defender have stayed up and probably cleared it? Maybe, but it's
ah,
also Sterling running behind you, who's one of
yeah,
the faster players in the tournament.
yeah, yeah.
So
I
you
think
kind of have to make a decision, and I mean, he made the decision, it hit him, and it went in. I mean, it is what it is.
it even almost like went over the net. Like it was.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Oh,
like maybe half a meter high,
yeah,
like it would have went over the net, but um, it is what it is. They got to once England and got a penalty in the first half of the extra time, which I think in both of our opinions just was not really deserved.
it was very
Um,
tough.
at the same time, we're I think we're both a little bit biased. I think I've said it on the show before that England to me reminds me of the Toronto Maple Leafs because they just always, every time they play a
Yeah,
tournament, everyone thinks they're the best ever, and then they never get past like the quarterfinals or whatever. But this team seems a little bit more
yeah,
confident. Maybe I don't think that they're as good as the finals. If we're going to be honest, I think if they played a little bit better competition, I would say throughout the tournament, throughout the knockout stages, I don't think they would be here.
yeah.
But regardless, they made it here. I
Yeah,
mean, it's the
we
same. It's the
can.
same thing as saying the Canadians, beat the weaker North Division. I mean, they made it there. It is what it is. They beat the teams they had to beat, and now they're in the final. So, talk to me about the undeserved penalty, if anything.
Oh, that was garbage. Like I like. This is why I hate soccer. It's like they have a chance to review it, and they say it's a penalty. Like like if you
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
if
That's
like our
that's
viewers
that's the
can have
most
a chance
frustrating.
and actually like look at it, so they can have a better understanding. You purely see nobody like no like serious contact where you're like, okay, there was no contact. All the Denmark players, like when they
Well,
went, they kind of like moved back, and Sterling just fell by himself. Yes, it's a
yeah,
very smart. In soccer, yes, you want to like go
it's
down and try
instinctive.
to,
Yeah, exactly.
right. I understand it's very good, but not in the semifinals, and especially not in overtime, extra time, and you're
And
calling up
now with the ability to review it.
exactly.
I would have
Well,
much
he
rather
did.
he let the play go and then review it.
Well, like the VAR
Either
said
way,
no,
it doesn't matter. The
you don't need to
VAR
look at
should
it.
have reviewed it anyway, but they did review it. I mean,
But he didn't go look.
out of all the VAR calls that I've seen in this Euro, I
Yeah,
think like 99% of them have been right. Like the
yeah.
vast majority have been the right calls.
This
Offsides that
was
were
a bad.
there, penalties that shouldn't have been
Yeah,
given, whatever, a red card when it should have been a red card, studs up tackle on someone. Stuff like that has been almost
yeah.
perfect
They've been
throughout the
good.
tournament. And that's the point of having VAR, is to make the referee's job a little bit easier. Um, but like I was telling you before, off air, my dad was outside starting the barbecue when that happened, and then he came back in, and I rewound it to the live version where you
Yeah,
see, from the overhead, not the replay, not the slow mo, nothing. And I said, "Come and check this penalty out. Tell me what you think." And he's like, "I wouldn't even have needed the VAR." He's like, "I would not have given that penalty." And for
right.
context, my dad played soccer for a very long time. Played, almost junior team Canada, but he was like, "I would never even have given the call at all." So I don't know. I mean, for the fact that someone could see it
Uh,
very obviously that it wasn't, and then the fact that
mm.
they went to VAR and still gave it to him anyway,
I
and
think
then the fact that he missed the penalty, the first one,
he got
had
the
to get his own
rebound.
rebound. I think they just
Yeah,
undeserved. One of the
so
most
lucky.
undeserved goals Harry Kane has ever scored in his life.
I think what makes it even worse, it was not even like a scoring chance. Like he was not even like
Yeah,
if it was
yeah.
like one on one on the keeper, okay, I understand. He was literally on the goal line cutting in. Like unless he's gonna cross to an open guy, but literally Denmark was in
The
their
ball the
box.
ball was too he pushed the ball
Yeah.
too far from him anyway, from himself
Like,
anyway. Even if he wouldn't have gotten tackled, even if he wouldn't have fallen over, he would have never got to the ball in time.
it's a
I mean,
very, very
the ball was already out of play by the time he made the tackle. So to me, it was like the tackle's in, sure, but he doesn't touch him. The
yeah.
guy's in stride, he goes over him, and he just falls. Sterling, that is.
It was a very weird
So
fucking call, man.
it is what it is. They're gonna
But
make it. I think Italy matches up very well against England.
I think we should easily control the game.
Honestly, yeah, we should be controlling the game a lot more than we did versus Spain. I think
What
what I would say is don't take this the wrong way, but England is much more similar to Belgium than they
yeah.
are to Spain, if that
Yes,
makes
okay,
sense.
yeah, yeah,
They
yeah. No,
have 3 players, 4 players that are dangerous,
they're a very attacking team.
and they're a very attacking team. Whereas Spain was able to control the midfield like they've almost always done for the past 20
That's their
years.
DNA. That's
You know, as much as we said earlier in the tournament they didn't impress us. I mean, they played a hell of a game in the semifinal. I mean, there's
beautiful.
there's no way
Beautiful.
there's no way they shouldn't have won that game. Donnarumma made a couple of great saves, and Morata missed a penalty. I mean, well,
That's soccer.
Donnarumma saved a penalty. That's soccer, right? So I think in that sense, not that they're as skilled, because obviously I don't think Sterling is De Bruyne or Hazard. I mean, I don't think he's any of those players. But
He's
they
yeah,
have a few players that are dangerous.
yeah,
Sterling, I like Walker on the outside.
yeah.
That young kid is pretty good too. Grealish, who
Jack Grealish
makes
comes
who
up.
makes plays, and obviously Harry Kane, who when he feels like it scores. But
Yeah,
uh, that's kind of how I feel about him. He's kind of, if he feels like
he's
scoring, he'll
he's
score, and if not, he's invisible for the game. So if
he's
he's
their
invisible for the final, I don't think there's going to be an issue.
he's
So
their version of our Immobile.
yeah, more or less. I mean, he's a very good talent. He scores at the club level, and
Yeah,
then he just
but
shows up to games, and sometimes
international,
it's like he's invisible. Yeah.
yeah.
So he is their captain. So we'll see how that kind of works
I
out for
think
them.
I
Yeah,
think
go
Italy
ahead.
has to take the same approach that Spain took to the game. I think Italy has to take that and bring it to the game against England. If we could literally control possession for like have 60 to 65% of the ball the whole game, England are gonna have no legs because
Yeah.
us at the end we had no fucking legs. All we
No.
did was run after the ball. That's what
Yeah.
we were doing. We were
And
running.
it was a very anyway. Finish your thought, and I'll.
Yeah. No, I think with Verratti, Barella, and Jorginho in midfield, I think we should kill them in midfield because their midfield is good, but they don't. I don't think I don't know, Declan Rice, Calvin Phillips, and then it's like Mason Mount. They're more attacking players, so I don't think
Yeah.
their styles to hold possession. I think that's where Italy could really dominate, and if we put pressure on their back line, they're gonna turn the ball over, and I think Insigne, Chiesa, or Berardi or Immobile, whoever's starting, is gonna they're
Yeah.
we
Well,
should have
let's
chances.
hope let's hope that for Chiesa's sake, it's not a more serious injury than just a cramp.
No,
To me, it looked like he just cramped
yeah,
up. I don't think
cramped
it
up.
was. I mean, he was playing for 100 minutes,
And
105
he was
minutes. He cramped
fucking
up, and
running.
he was running the whole game. So
No, he's good to go.
uh, he's gonna get some rest. It's nice that Italy has an extra day of rest, I guess.
Yeah.
In soccer, it's actually I find it very important,
Okay.
probably even more so than in hockey, because you're running for the full 90 minutes, those 11
No
guys, right? And,
changes. No
and
changes.
that's it, and you have no changes. So, yeah, like you can manage minutes, right, in a hockey game. Like
Exactly.
you can manage a guy's minutes if he's tired, if you're playing back to back nights. That's why goalies don't play twice. I mean, these guys, everybody plays pretty much every game. So
Exactly.
you kind of have to make sure you recoup very well. And I think they'll do that. I think both teams have enough time. I mean, it's 4 days or 5 days. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not like
Sunday is the final, man.
yeah. So Sunday will be the final. Um, like I said, I think that they do match up a little bit better against England. Well, better. I mean, Denmark is not a powerhouse team. I
No,
mean,
but
it's
if
not. It's not
let's
like whatever. But we could
Denmark,
have run into some difficulty like we did against Austria, like we did against Spain.
well, that's what like if Denmark would have went through, their game plan was to play five in the back, defend, hopefully get a break and counter. And I kind of didn't want to play. I didn't want to play against a team like that because you never know with Italy.
You never know what's gonna. You never
Yeah,
know what would
we
happen.
we're gonna have like I don't want 2018 all over again when we lost to Sweden and we didn't make the World Cup where we were just
Yeah,
attacking and we just couldn't
and then you
score.
just couldn't score. Yeah,
Yeah, so
I
I
think this
kinda,
team is a little bit different
yeah, it's a
in the
little bit
sense that we have better. We break the lines better. We find areas a little bit better. We have players that can do those things better, and they're a little bit more mature in their careers. And you have some, as much as we say, oh, De Bruyne is world class and Sterling's world class, and Hazard's world class. I mean, we have a couple of players that are right on that cusp of being world class. Like I would make an argument that Jorginho, when he plays his game,
yeah, he's
is
phenomenal.
world class. I mean, he's
Um,
one of the best players at that position. So,
yeah,
um,
I think
obviously Insigne and I would think Spinazzola would have been two other guys that if Spinazzola was
our
healthy together could be very very solid.
I think our back line,
Um,
Bonucci and Chiellini, I think that's world class.
yeah,
Like
I
that's
think that's, but I think that's more.
he,
I think that's more experience versus the fact that they're. I mean, they're not
every
Maldini, they're not Nesta, they're not
no.
They're not Costa Curta, they're not these guys, they're not Baresi, they're not giants of defense. But because they understand the game, because they learned from Italy being so good defensively for so
But they're
long,
good,
the
man. They're good
experience
at
that they have, they know where to be, they know what to do, they know whatever. They don't have the same skills, the same motor, the same energy, and the same characteristics as those legends have. But yes, in a sense, they are world class because they know where
well,
to be almost all the time. So
look at the age that they're doing it, man.
yeah,
It's
and they
that's
manage the game very well as well.
late 30s, and they're performing at high level.
Well,
Like
how old is
everyone,
Bonucci? Bonucci's not late 30s, is he?
34. It's 34.
Okay, I know Chiellini is older than him. Yeah,
You
Bonucci's
have
34.
34 and a 37-year-old. Like that's your back line, and we're killing. Like
Yeah,
you're having like all these legend coaches like Mourinho and Zidane coming out. All these guys are coming out and saying like Bonucci and Chiellini, they are the when they play, when they want to show up, they are the best duo in the world. Like there is nothing better than them.
yeah. It's hard to think about who would be
I
probably
can't think
better.
of better like maybe
Like
what.
individual players, there's a few that I guess maybe like
Yes, but as a duo. Like the only other duo I can think of is maybe 2006, like Cannavaro and Nesta. That's the only.
yeah. But I mean, if you're gonna go back into history, there's plenty of better duels. But I mean, like nowadays or like in recent history, in the past what 4 to 8 years, like the Spanish team, like PK and Ramos,
Yeah, I mean,
I
yeah,
would
they
think
could probably, yeah,
are close
at their
enough.
level, at their height, they could probably
You
give.
know, yeah, like that's very good as well. Boateng and Hummels was pretty good for a
Yeah,
little while as well. Like those guys were good too. Like they can give them a run for sure. But now the I think the experience and the way that they know how to play the game, manage the game, I think is a better term
mm,
than uh, than anything else. They just know how to do it pretty well. They got exposed a little bit with with that passing and
yeah.
that
That's
passing
we
play
get.
and with Morata's goal.
That's the only
You know,
thing we cannot.
six guys in one area and nobody was at the right spot.
We
Basically, was
can't.
what I was saying.
We can let like mostly against England is gonna be Mason Mount, which I think he's gonna start as like Cam. We can't let him have his back to the defense, get the ball, turn around and run. Has to be our midfield has to be there. We cannot let him on the goal. Verratti let I don't remember who Spanish guy. He
It
let
was
him
probably
turn
what's his name?
Daniel.
Yeah, probably.
He
I
let
think it
him
was Olmo who made the pass. Yeah.
probably whoever it was. He let him turn and run at Bonucci and Chiellini, and that's where you see the weakness because the speed is not there. That's the only thing is their speed is
Yeah,
not there,
it's
so
physically. Yeah, yeah.
they can't
That's it.
cover the gap, right?
Yeah, because technically like technically with their foot skill, they're okay
Yeah,
still. I think, and they can get rid of the ball when they need to. They can play balls. They can play balls in. They can play balls out. They can kick the ball out of play. They still have a boot that they can boot the ball up. They still have enough finesse to get around one guy to get a ball out. But their real strength is kind of knowing the game, right, and knowing where to have their line all the time, and knowing where to set their line and where to press and when to stay back. Their weakness, like you said, is in the speed category, in the physical category, because at 34, 35, 36, 37, it's a little bit more difficult to defend guys that are coming in, and it kind of makes you go, how the hell is Ronaldo still running at that pace at 34, 35? Like, and Messi, same thing. Like, those two guys just running at that pace forever. Like, it's unbelievable.
It's funny because Bonucci, after the game, he said this was the hardest game I ever played in my life.
Against Spain.
No, like ever, like game wise, like in his whole career, is the hardest game he found.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it was a game that they had to defend pretty much the whole game. They always had to be on. They couldn't really make mistakes. They made one mistake, they scored. Exactly. That's what I was telling you during the game. We have, our friend of ours, Vinny, was talking to me too. He's like, I don't understand how he can't keep the ball.
Yeah,
I understand the possession. I'm like, yeah, but you have to understand,
that's Spain.
We counterattacked. We had 3 shots on goal. We had 3 opportunities. All of them were shots on goal. One of them was a goal, pretty much. Like, that was our game the other day. Versus Spain was in our half for 70% of the game. They had maybe 20 attempts or something, and none of them were good. There was 2 solid attempts. One of them went in. Right? So that's the difference. But yeah, you can hold the ball the whole game, but if you're defending properly, it shouldn't really be an issue. You should be able to get your counterattack. The only thing that, like you said, and like I was going to mention, the legs have to be there the whole game. And I think for that to happen, the 2 games against Spain and against Austria, where they had a little bit of difficulty, was because in the first 30 minutes they were chasing a goal, or they were chasing a counterattack, or they weren't set in their formation. They weren't going 11 at a time. They were going 2-3 guys at a time, which means the other team had the rest of the team had to sprint up and sprint back every single time. So they wasted so much of their energy in the first 25 minutes of those 2 games. If you rewatch them, that I was like, this is not how we're supposed to play here, right? I understand that they were trying to take advantage of early opportunities. There was plenty of early opportunities, both in the Austria game and in the Spain game. The early 25 minutes, we had 2-3 opportunities.
Pace yourself.
And then after that, it was like, well, now we have no pace.
Exactly.
So you can't let yourself run that out. I think that's going to be the key to the start of the game, because England is a running team as well. They'll run at you.
I think they're fast. They're faster than I think they're the fastest team we're going to be facing against.
Most likely, yeah. But I don't think the quality is there technically. I think Spain's quality of the players, like on the ball, is better. But I think that England has more of England's always had more of a run and gun game anyway. Like the EPL. The EPL is very fast compared to Serie A. It's
like you're describing the Leafs.
You're describing the 2 leagues. Yeah, basically. One is more controlled, one is more possession, one is, same thing with the Spanish league. Those 2 leagues I find are a little bit more possession, a little bit more moving the ball up at the same rate and whatever. And England, the EPL is just go all the time, I find. Which is why I find a lot of their players are in better shape. And they last a little bit longer. So that's why, like, guys how many guys on Italy's team play? I think it's only Jorginho that plays in Chelsea. That plays for Chelsea.
Emerson, but he doesn't play.
Oh, Emerson, yeah, but he plays. He's like a second, which is crazy how he's still on the team. Like he's played like 3 games or something this year, and he's on the team.
Well, we have no left backs. Italy has no left back. It's literally Spinazzola and him.
Yeah, unfortunately, Spinazzola was pretty much our most dangerous player for.
Oh, it sucks because the
tournament.
He would have helped, I think.
Yeah, it would have been a massive difference. A massive difference.
I know, like now in the finals going against England, especially I think was it Sterling's gonna be on his side, and he'll push. That's why, because Spinazzola pushes the left England's wing to defend and be more down the pitch instead of being higher up the pitch. Which
exactly. So now Sterling's gonna have an opportunity to take the ball, turn and go higher up the pitch when you don't have the midfielder, you don't have the forward back.
That's why if you notice, like afterwards, we had Chiesa playing on that side as kind of like a left back, just in case, And I don't know.
Well, he's a guy that I can see doing that too, because he's got a motor on him too, but it's not It's not the ideal position
Yeah,
for him,
it's not
obviously.
for him that.
Insigne is it's just like he's a creative player that plays on. He's an inverted wing that basically could be a
He
number
needs
10,
the ball. He
right?
needs the ball. He
He
needs the
just
ball.
needs the
That's all
ball.
he
He needs to create. So
needs. Just give him the ball and let him do what he wants in the offensive zone. There's
yeah,
here. Oh wait,
but that's why you can't have Sterling overload that side. It's gonna be interesting how they do it. For me that's the key player for them, is Sterling.
Sterling, yeah.
For me, that's probably their key player. Yes, their
Sterling,
midfield they have some dangerous players, but
I don't see like threat, like a big threat, unless
yeah,
they switch up their formation and they start like Jack Grealish, Mount,
if they do some
some
type of
crazy,
different.
and then they're going all out. But I don't see them. I think they're gonna go with the same formation. Maybe Grealish
Yeah.
is gonna start. I maybe
Well,
more.
they also have some sort of it's like a 4-5-1, but like a 4-3-3.
Yeah,
It's an interesting kind of mix. They have a similar formation to Italy's, I think, in general, but they just don't use it the same way.
yeah,
You know, we have we had Spinazzola all the way up the pitch on offense basically, and have three back, have your guys shift over and whatever. England doesn't really do the same thing. They have Walker that can probably do
but
that,
he doesn't. They don't. They don't. He's not very.
but they
He's
don't use him. They don't use him as much as they probably could, because
they
I think
don't.
he is a
They
talented player, right?
don't. They see England does not create from their fullbacks. It's mostly from their wingers. Is to give the ball to
Yeah.
either Sterling or whoever's on the other side and let them come and attack.
Well, I
And
think Saka was the one who started, and
yeah,
then
he did start. I
what's his
think
name?
Grealish is gonna. I think Grealish should start the next game.
Grealish. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a good player. He's dynamic. He does stuff with the ball that not a
well,
lot of other people can. So
it's gonna be a tough game against England.
yeah, obviously tougher than Denmark's would have been.
Yeah,
But at the same time, you have to applaud Denmark for coming this far,
well, good for them.
especially after losing their best player, after having a
Exactly.
situation like that even happen at all, even to any player. Very very good on them. They had some very good soccer played, and I think in the second half of the overtime they just
Yeah.
ran out of gas. The tank was empty. You could tell that they didn't even have that extra push to go and try to whatever. And I think somewhat that has to do with travel. They did travel more than any other team.
Yeah.
But I think it's also just the fact that like they had no will left. Like there was nothing left in the tank at
Like
all.
they gave it everything they had and just
Yeah. Yeah, and kudos to them. Is there a third place game? They usually play a third place game. No, it's not like the Olympics or whatever. I
no,
forget if the international. I haven't watched an international tournament in so long. I feel that I forget how it works.
no, there's no third place.
But yeah, so I guess we'll see what happens on Sunday, and we'll have a
That'll be
recap
good.
for you. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Okay, Frank. Thanks for joining me.
No worries, man. My
Thanks
pleasure.
for watching. Those of you who are with us, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
Oh.